The Trump administration and its cabinet have lost their soul and have imperiled ours as a result, as they mercilessly, callously, in a depraved way go after 9/11 survivors and first responders, cutting their aid, cutting off their chemotherapy, and cutting for the third time those personnel that are responsible for administrating a program that was put in place by Barack Obama back in 2011 and was supposed to run until 2090 to protect all these people. And they, the Trump administration, including its cabinet member, Howard Lutnick, who's the Commerce Secretary, whose own company, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered a loss of 658 people, employees, on 9/11, they should know better. This was not a mistake. This was not a typo. This was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., through his Department of Health and Human Services, cutting the WTC, the World Trade Center Health Program, administered by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, and therefore making it so, let's talk about a bottom line, people who suffered from 9/11, who worked on the pile, who were the first responders, can't get chemotherapy, can't get their annual physical to make sure that they're not suffering from some latent disease, can't get their mental health treatment for their post-traumatic stress disorder. And who do they have to blame for that? Donald Trump and Howard Lutnick. Because if anybody should know about the humanitarian crisis and about the inhumanity of what happened on 9/11, you would think it would be Donald Trump, who considers himself the king of New York, and Howard Lutnick, who lost the single most largest group of people in a blink of an eye in the history of America in the attack on 9/11. I'm Michael Popok. I'm pissed, and I'm on Legal AF. Let's cover the new reporting. Now, the Trump administration has a habit, a nasty little habit. They'll cut something, Social Security, get rid of a field office. You let Doge do their dirty work. Then when it is brought out into sunshine and transparent reporting, like here on the Midas Touch Network and on Legal AF, they backpedal, they backslide, they make changes, hoping nobody will look. And then a week or two or a month or two later, boom, they do it all over again. So for the World Trade Center Health Program, which again is administered by the Department of Human Services, headed by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they first made major cuts, getting rid of 20, 30, 40% of the personnel responsible for the health program, including doctors and nurses, and its funding, and showed them the door in violation of congressional statute and order of a prior president. I mean, we know they don't like Barack Obama. They conveniently moved his official portrait out of its hallowed position in the White House so they could put a photo, a painting that looked like it was done by a 9-year-old of Donald Trump at Butler, Pennsylvania, after whatever whizzed by his ear. You know, they put that in his place. Let's put that aside for a minute. They then made all those major cuts. They cut 16 out of the 90 people that are responsible for providing services to 9/11 survivors and first responders. Then there was a public outcry. Then they restored that. And then of all days, on April Fool's Day, 4/1, April Fool's Day, they cut it and cut it even worse while they thought nobody was looking, but we're looking. And they gutted, effectively, the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. You know, that is, so just so we make this clear, the Trump administration doesn't care about your children and their education, or whether they're being abused in colleges or in high schools or elementary schools by the elimination of the Department of Education. They don't care about workers at all. For those that work, are blue collar, are middle class, are the working poor or below the poverty line, and you thought to vote for Donald Trump, he's eliminated the National Labor Relations Board, which is 100% in favor of collective bargaining rights and unions and safety in the workplace, and making sure that workers aren't abused by their overlords that run these businesses. That's the National Labor Relations Board. He's gotten rid of and eliminated the Merit Protection Board that's used in civil servants for civil service. So that's federal workers. got rid of that as well. And now he's going after workplace safety and things that happen on national disasters like 9/11 through his Department of Health and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, let me read to you from what Kirsten Gillibrand, the junior senator from New York, had to say when she found out about this. And I, as you can imagine, I completely agree. She said, the chaos surrounding the WC Health program is completely unacceptable for the thousands of 9/11 survivors and first responders who risked their lives in our nation's darkest hour. This is completely disrespectful to the 9/11 survivors and responders who protected our nation when we were under attack and are now suffering from life-threatening health ramifications from that day. And Howard Lutnick knows better, right? He knows better. When you lose 658 people, including your own brother, and everybody you held dear in the company, in the blink of an eye, you now don't stand up and use your access to the President of the United States, one that you brag about at length in your social media posts. I was just with the president when he wrote this tweet, this X posting about the tariffs. So proud to be an American. You're up there bragging at Madison Square Garden during the campaign. Oh, I can't believe nobody like me could ever be here playing the garden. So you're busy bragging about your access. So you have the access. So we can only believe one of two things. Either you have the access, but you refuse callously to protect those who suffered at 9/11, maybe didn't die, but are dying as a result of 9/11, and first responders who were picking through the rubble to find the remains of your employees. It's either that, or you tried and failed, and that puts it on Donald Trump. And your response to that should have been a resignation and throwing in your towel. But you don't want to do that because you want to stay close to power and you want to try to make money for your companies. I get it. Elon Musk bought a presidency for $200 million, and now X is the official news media outlet for the White House. They even now have a seat at the press conferences. They're introduced by Carolyn Levitt. Welcome this guy who's now the head of X Media and X News. He'll ask the first question. As that raises the price of X, allowing them to offload their debt at a discount. See, the people that bet on Donald Trump and spent tens and hundreds of millions to get him elected are being benefited in their pocketbook. Though the value of these people have gone up. And then what do? They turn around and let 9/11 survivors and first responders suffer and be cut off from their chemotherapy? It is, we have a word for it. This is the Jewish and Christian holiday season. We're now in Passover coming into Easter. It's a shonder. It is a shameful thing of biblical proportions, what's just happened with the Trump administration, and it being allowed by people who know better, who suffered themselves and have used it as a way to at every speech, at every press conference, at every instance to talk about loss and suffering on 9/11, then go help the people who continue as survivors and restore immediately the funding for the World Trade Center Health Program without delay, and restore the people and the funding and make sure nobody misses their next chemotherapy appointment. I'm Michael Popok. I'm hot under the collar. I know where my outlet is. It's with you here on Legal AF. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. Follow me on all things Legal AF. The podcast Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, only on the Midas Touch Network. And then I do hot takes about law and politics with my expertise on the Midas Touch Network. And here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel, we got about a dozen contributors. Amazing group of people that I've assembled here and curated for you. We got Shan Wu. We got Court Accountability Action, Lisa Graves, Mike Sachs, and Alex Aronson. We've got Dina Dahl. We've got Melba Pearson and Dave Arenberg. And of course, me, Michael Popok. So until my next report, It's Michael. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.